About that video cut off. Alright, what we're trying to do is just trying to find reference photos. So like I said, I've got reference photos here, right there. You can do ones like this. That's a guy named Pedro Moreta who does the Arnold. That is a form right there that's very similar to the ones that they sell on eBay that I've been, I bought one of those as a reference. It's the Damaged Terminator. And like I said, it's a reference form. Here's another one that Pedro Moreta sculpted. You see how that's done with the form and stuff like that. And you got vein work and you've got all these textures and all that stuff. Now, if Pedro Moreta did this shape right here, you see there's different features, like he's got very enunciated lips. He's got very small eyes, he's got wrinkles right here, everybody's got eyebrow lines, his ears are pretty predominant, that type of thing. These are things you want to look for. Here's another one. There's a front shot. Now you see how the eyes are sculpted? And you have the eyelids and everything, and those eyeballs are sunk in. See, if I had those eyeballs sticking out, his face would be more protrusive in the eye area and it wouldn't look right. So, that's why I said you've got to take all of these things into account when you're doing sculpting. So I can spend a number of hours looking at, here's a representation from 3D print, which is ZBrush, which is a very expensive program. These are some representations on there. These are all digital designed. There's a guy named Godia King, I think, that does digital designs. Here's another one. This is a resin bust with the hair sculpted in. So there's a number of ways to do this, and it depends on whether you want to sculpt the hair or not. Here's another one. This is a clay bust with a little bit of an expressionism right there in the lip. He's got a little bit of a sneer. And you got very formal muscle definition. So I have to take all these things in account because when I do something, I do not want to replicate exactly what somebody else has done. I want to be able to do something that says, this is mine. It stands out from everybody else. Here's a Sketchfab portrait in which they did the entire body. Sketchfab is a program that is like used in 3D printing, that type of thing. I did that for a little while last year, and it's just, the thing about 3D printing is it takes so long to print something. So see, I've got all these reference photos, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up here and look at Pedro's one, this one. Let me see if I've got that one. I'm not going to do the expressionism, but I'm going to account for the facial features, and I'm going to try to bring that up into a big picture to work from. Let's see, we can cancel that. Okay, there it is. See if I can do this. Maybe I can download it, download the image. As you guys are seeing how I'm doing this. You download the image, okay, close this out, bring that down, just collapse that, and go to downloads. I said you guys shouldn't really be seeing my files on my computer. I don't have any bad files, but I don't want you seeing personal information. So, protect myself. Okay, there's the image. That's the image that I'm going to be working from. Right there. Alright? Now, the objective is not to duplicate the image line for line, detail for detail. The objective is to make it look like Arnold. So that's the thing that I'm going to do here. And the first thing I do is I'm going to enunciate the features that stand out more prominently on him. And that is the nose area. And you got a very thin bridge of nose. All you're doing is just shaping it and smoothing it out. And there again, I'm utilizing the features that I have on the Ed head to work with, the form. That's what makes this a little bit easier for me in doing it, because people will take raw clay and they will sculpt it, and you have blocks and stuff like that you have to do. Now basically what I want to do and do the eyes, because I know where the orbital socket's going to be, and they're sunk in. What you're going to do is find the eyes where they are, right? And then go to the side of the head. And kind of shape it out. Almost like a skeleton, to believe it or not. Skulls, skeletons. Okay? And just smooth it out. Get it nice and smooth, if you can. And I'm just taking my thumb and working it in there and just kind of doing that just to make sure, because he has a little bit of an elongated eye socket and it's narrow. So I have to account for that. And like I said, this is not going to be done in one day. This is going to be a sculpt that'll probably take me 2 days to do, maybe 3, depending on how good it is. There I'm just shaping the nose, making sure that it fits. Now the other thing is I'm looking at this straight on this photo. So you want to find reference materials. If you use photographs that show all sides, you want a side show so you can see the length and the extension of the nose right here. You want as many reference photos as you can get. And that's one of the reasons that I bought that damaged Terminator on eBay, was because that is a reference to where if I want to do, I do an Arnold sculpting, okay, this one. And I want to make Terminator damage on it. What I can do is I can take the same shape and size and everything of whatever the feature is that I want to do, and I can mold it, and I can look at it and have it right there and go, okay, measure it and say, okay, that's exactly that long, that wide, and then I can make it and replicate it in size and placement from what has been done on a form to what I'm going to do on a form. Because like I said, with the character damage on the Terminator, y'all saw me do the eye molding for the Terminator eye. I've got that video up. That was a quick molding of that. And that's what I'm saying. I can do that in clay. I can cut it off of the form and do it. Because like I said, once I do this and I have the general shape, what I will do is I will take that clay form, and I've got the silicone molding of it, right? Then I will take that clay form, that clay, and do a clay pour and recreate Arnold's head, face, and all that stuff in clay as I sculpted it the first time, so I don't have to redo it. And then I can do all of that. I'm just making ear impression area here so I know where the ear placement's going to be. So right here, I've pushed this clay in, so I know that indentation, that impression area is going to be the ear area. So I have the proper place to put the features that are needed, because you're going to have, it doesn't want to look, these are very anatomically correct designed. So you have the rough placement of the ear here. And the reason I'm pushing thin clay over there is to make it thinner so it stands out as the area of where the ear is going to be. Because like I said, if you're doing this, you can measure it out. But I tend to use what's available for me on the form, because that's exactly what it's designed for. Exactly what it's designed for. So now I've got an area here that I know where the other ear placement is going to be. Press that up there. Like I said, these, I'm teaching people shortcuts on how to do quick molding. Now, if I look at this straight on, and I'm looking at that straight on, I've got to do things like form the cheek area. And you got very shallow dimpled cheeks. So right here, you're going to form a cheekbone by impressing the clay underneath. And then he's got very prominent mouth features here, so you start shaping that. And just kind of press, like I said, there's the cheek, and just, you know, you want to do it to where you see the prominence of the feature in the eye socket, right there. So he's already got that there. Then he got the line here that's going to form for the lips. He's got a very dimpled area underneath his chin, in the chin area. So you got to make that proportional. And like I said, these are just rough first impressions of areas that I notice that are prominent. So I bring those prominent features out first to be able to give a general shape, form to it. Okay? Then he's got a little bit of a tuck under the chin. So like I said, you know, with the chin, you want to do the same thing. Just smooth it out, press it in. Now, like I said, this is not going to take a day. This is going to take a day because this is going to be a different form. But this is just going to be the general shape. Okay, then you want to go around the nose area. Now see, I know he's got a nose alignment right here. And what I'm doing is I'm just pushing in. This could easily be either a Schwarzenegger or a Stallone at this point. But I know I'm working for photo references from Schwarzenegger. So, once you get the general shape of the nose, and you get the angularity of it, you can add clay, you can take clay away, but the first thing I make is impression molds of where everything's going to be, to get the right continuity to where everything is supposed to be placed. That's how I work. That's how my brain works. That's how my OCD works. Therefore, that is how I work. There is no right or wrong way to do this. You simply do it. But you do it as you see it, and as your hands form and shape it and mold it. That's how sculpting is done. It's going to take a while for this to look anything remotely resembling Schwarzenegger. But once I can get the predominant features done in, you'll see it start to take shape. That's where you just work the clay around. It's a matter of pushing, pressing, and molding. I just push it up. He's got a prominent eyebrow. This is working with what's on the form already. Okay? Now the thing about Mr. Schwarzenegger is he seems to have very wide cheeks. So what I want to do, in the addition to the nose area, which I'm going to kind of push and shape and form here, and then just get like a little bit of a nostril accentation here. This very well could be a Stallone from the way I'm looking at it. Because it is very much closer to Stallone than Schwarzenegger right now. Just going to pinch in the areas of the nose so I can have that off to the side of the nostrils. Right. That does look a little wide, but I'm using that as a measuring for where the rest of the facial features will be. This is not going to be a finished final thing. I'm just forming the shape of the nose, a little bit accented like this. I may be looking at this just a little bit wrong. But see, I have those resin busts out there that I can bring in, and I can use one of those as a reference too, and make sure that I get this correctly in dimensions and measurements and all that. But this is just saying I don't have anything, okay? This is like me sculpting, not necessarily the first time I did it, but doing it from the ground up to show you guys how I do it, and to prove that I do it, and to prove that I did it. Because there are some people out there that don't believe I can sculpt, that don't think I can do anything. I did the Vengeance. I do like doing other works that I admire. I mean, if there's retired pieces and stuff like that, I can do that. That's not a big deal. But one thing to note on anything that you have, whether it be a master or it's a figure or you're designing anything, all of the figures, the action figures, the NECA figures, all those things that they sell online, most of those, a majority of those, are 3D designed and 3D printed. They're just cast and molded in plastic. That's it. That's it. That is about all there is to that. So for those of you out there that think 3D printing is recasting or fraudulent or anything like that, remember all those toys that you're buying, all those collectibles, those are 3D printed. There's nobody in the United States sitting down and sculpting, or China, and sculpting anything anymore that small by hand without doing a replication or duplication. One might get sculpted, but for the majority of it, it is either 3D designed, digitally designed, and 3D printed. So for those that like to say, oh, 3D printing is recasting, all right, well, guess what? Those toys that you're buying and collecting, those are recast. Are you going to go after the people that did those? Nope, you're not. Why? Because you want the toy. You want the figure. You want whatever it is that you buy and collect and shit like that. And so you're not going to go after the person that made it because it's what you want. Because if they don't, you take their product away from them, you don't get what you want. So now I'm going to shut up talking for a minute and just start sculpting and molding. Because I find out sometimes when I talk, shit, my computer went out. I have to get some side photos and find out exactly how his nose is insofar as if there's a long narrow bridge, I know that much, but symmetrically how's it shaped on the front. Like what I'm trying to do here is just kind of make that a little bit more defined. But like I said, it's still a rough thing. But I want to get the definition and the actual thing, because then I will go in there and put details on it. And what I'm trying to do is accent the cheekbones area where I know his mouth is a little bit predominant. So I'm going to do that area. Okay. And he's got a little bit of a cheek area here that's kind of high. Just a little bit. So shape and form that right there. And without seeing the sides and everything on this and using the different photos, I'm not going to have exact measurements and stuff like that for where everything's going to be placed. You can take impressions. Now I gotta find another photo representation of the side of his head. So go back online and pull up the photo of the side of his head and download it. Sorry about that, somebody's messaging me. Okay, now I've got this photo here. I'm going to view it. And like I said, these are public domain. So you can save image as such and such. That type of thing. Alright, I'm going to pause this for a second because I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Alright, now what we're going to do is, I'm just going to, got to thinking about this shape and form. I've had too much coffee this morning and my nerves are jumping. I'm just going to shape and form the head here. Make sure this is nice and smooth. Hang on just a second. Coffee doesn't really help a lot when you're sculpting, because you can get very, very nervous and very, very jittery. What I'm doing is I'm just basically pressing in the head, shaping it, and all the lines and dimples and wrinkles and stuff like that, and just kind of doing that just to get the general shape. Make it look a little bit finished. Because I can use this clay to do muscle definition or what have you. Back of the head. Now the thing about the resin pieces, the wigs go on there. So the back of the head shape is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be, because it's natural, it's covered by hair. But I do want to make sure that I have the right general shape of the back of the head. I've got too much clay sticking out here. So I just scoop it up and just form it, make a nice smooth motion, see. Just run my hand over it, make it nice and smooth, just kind of like shaving the clay and just smoothing it out. Just running your hands over it and smoothing it out, making sure it's nice and smooth all the way around. Funny thing is, nobody actually has a smooth cue ball head, because every head has a different shape, size, and whatnot. So there's going to be lumps and bumps in it, ridges, indentations, impressions. It's all about anatomy. Oh, that's another thing. Anatomy is a good way to learn how to sculpt. You have to study the basics of anatomy in some form, shape, or fashion to understand how the human head works. If you're going to do skulls, you want to study the skeleton. You don't have to study blood vessels so much, but if you are going to accent vein work and that type of thing, you do want to have some knowledge of how to shape them, that type of thing. And of course I can put that on here, but like I said, this is going to be a resin bust, so the vein work will not be prominent on this as much as it would be, like say, a mask or a creature or something like that. But for the one that I'm doing, it's not that. Now, see, I've got a low point here. I want to bring this out and kind of shave and shim and smooth this out. So all I'm going to do is just smooth this clay out and just rub it and smooth it out and make sure it's nice and symmetrical and even all the way around. We'll take clay from the front and bring it down, because like I said, he's got a prominent forehead, he's got a prominent eyebrow. So there again, I will take some of this clay and push it down and use it to make the eyebrow. Is that what's called a not a Neanderthal look. I forget what they call this. And Ken Walker might be able to help me with this. My buddy Ken Walker is a Sasquatch enthusiast, more so than I am. he studies and Bigfoot and that type of thing, but he's also a world-class taxidermist. It's some kind of a ridge, a crest. I can't think of the name of it. And damn, I went to vet school and I can't think of it. I can't remember it. Not the sagittal crest. That's what's found predominantly in primates. This is, oh my God. What would you call this? It's a very, very immense eyebrow area. That's all I know. A very high arch over the eyebrows. Forehead, prominent forehead arch. Okay, now I've got this computer shutting down. Put this up here. Put that up there, hold up. Okay, now, so I'm using the side view of the Arnold right now. And I'm doing the side view, and what I'm working on is making these prominent eyebrows on him. So what I'm doing is I'm just shaping that out so you can see where it will take place to form the fact that he has enunciated eyebrows. So just take the clay and you push it in, make sure that gets out. Push it down, you know where his eyebrow is, you know where the eyeball is. You don't want to push it down so far. Well, like I said, that's just kind of let's smooth out and shape the head. That's the thing that I've got to do is I'm going along, my brain, my OCD makes me want to shape and form everything as I go along, because this part has no detail. This is all just, you know, neck, shoulders, you know, you don't have anything but muscle symmetry to put in here. So the head, the neck, the back of the head is just cue ball smooth. Cue ball smooth, that's the way it is. Use the palm of your hands.